Okay, good evening. Hope you guys are all doing all right tonight. So before I get started, I had a few questions over here in the chat, and let's see. So I've had a couple things, well, just by looking at submissions for homework 16, it looks like there were some issues. It looks like people weren't able to complete it 100%. Yeah, so it looks like only 6 students have turned it in so far. And so that's okay. I can try to help you with any questions on that, and give you a few more days to do chapter 16. Okay, so that's all right. And so I had a few questions specifically about chapter 16 homework, so I can try to answer those first. I have all the homework solutions, my solutions for the homework, and I can I can post those. I can share the homework solutions that I have for you guys to help study for the exam. I have a separate, I prepared 2 exams, and so I prepared the exam that I'm going to pass out at the end of class, or not pass out, but post, and I prepared a separate practice exam that we're going to go through tonight. So that has my solutions that you can use as a study guide. But if you want all my solutions to the homework, then I have to have a cutoff date for the homework submission. So I'm happy to give you guys I'm happy to give you guys as much time as you want to turn in your homework, but I'm not going to post my solutions until all the homeworks have been submitted, or until after a certain date. So we can decide if you guys want a few more days, or even the whole week to do chapter 16. That just means I won't post the solution until the extended date. Okay, so I know I've heard 2 or 3 specific questions on chapter 16. I'm just going to look at the chat. Was chapter 16 difficult to complete? Just the homework? Okay, so it looks like if you did have some problems with it or struggle with it, or weren't able to complete it, it looks like a majority of the class had that same issue, and so that's okay. So I can help you try to finish that, because there is one of those. The good news is we're going to go through a whole other example of that for the practice exam, so that's the good news. Okay, so I'll answer the questions on chapter 16 specifically in a minute. And so let me see, I just had and someone posted, do you have a preference? Would you like to see us on camera or not? It doesn't matter if your camera's on, because once I start sharing my screen, I can't see anybody. It's only when we have the group chat. And so it's fine if I can see you guys at the beginning, like you can see me. But it makes no difference, because I can only see what I'm sharing on the screen once I do the share screen. Okay. Yeah, so let me see. Yeah, so I'm recording all the lectures, and I'm posting them from now on. So this one's currently being recorded. So don't say anything, sensitive. We're going to take it down. I'm just kidding. But yeah, so I think I recorded last week and put it up on Blackboard. Yeah. So if you look on our Blackboard page and go to the WebEx recording, there's the one from last week. So can you guys view that? You should be able just to open it and like run it as a video. So that's what it does on my computer. And so there's only one format that you can record it in. It's that WRF format. But if you're using WebEx, you should be able to see it. So are you guys able to see the video or start the video, etc.? Yeah, so on the Blackboard page in the WebEx recordings, I'm posting all of the lectures, including this one. So there's the one from last week, and then I'm currently recording this one, and then I'll post that one and each lecture from now on. So you should be able to just open that WRF document and watch the video, just kind of like YouTube. But let me know if you have any issues, because it works fine on my computer. Okay, so before we answer some questions on the Chapter 16 homework, you guys need more time to do the homework assignments. And so I don't know if you guys noticed, but I updated your homework grades on Blackboard and your attendance grades. Pretty much everyone got full attendance since we've been come back from spring break. But if you've done all the homework, there's essentially okay. So far we've had homework assignments for chapters 1 through 9 and chapter 16, including today. I mean, I haven't looked at the chapter 16 yet. And you probably saw that I'm pretty lenient on grading the homework. So I looked through them all, and as long as you make it, you don't have to get it 100% right, but as long as you make a good attempt and answer all the questions, you probably get 100% on the homework. If you don't have 100% on the homework, it's probably because you didn't submit some of the homework. So check your homework grades. What does it say? Internal. Can you guys see my comments in the chat? Oh, hold on. Okay, sorry. And okay, and so I think you guys can see my. But what was I saying? So for the homework, double check your grade on Blackboard, and it's pretty much just like like a percent what you did. So if you did all, looks like there's 10 homeworks, including tonight. So if you do all 10, you just get 100%. It's just 10 divided by 10. And if you miss any, then you just don't get credit for the ones you didn't turn in. But like I said, it looks like there were some issues with chapter 16. You guys might need some more time. And so I can extend the deadline for the homework assignments. It just means that I won't post the solution. So when do you guys what do you want me to extend the homework deadline submission date to? It can be later this week. It could be next Monday, but then I just won't post the solution. So it's up to you guys. What do you want? When do you want the cutoff to be for the homework, for me to let you turn in homework? Wednesday? Fine with me. Okay, so Wednesday. Oh, that was easy. So that's if only the Democrats or Republicans can agree that easily, but okay, Wednesday works. Okay. All right. So let's have Wednesday. Yeah. Let's have Wednesday at midnight. You know, last time you can submit the homework. Now I'll double check I'll update the grades. Let's let's just say midnight. Some of you guys have to work during the day. All right. So homework submission deadline is now Wednesday at midnight, and so okay. So that goes for all of the homework. If you haven't done, most of you have done the first two, chapters 6, 7, and then chapters 8, 9, and I updated your homework grades for those. If you have not done those, you have a few more days to do those. And so if you want to submit any of these homeworks that I'm highlighting, make sure you turn them in by Wednesday at midnight, because I'm going to post the solutions for you guys to see and study for on Thursday morning. Okay, so Wednesday night at midnight, and then Thursday you can see my solutions and use those to study. All right, sound good? Okay, so now let me answer any specific questions on chapter 16 before we do the midterm review. And so I have one question already I know on part C. Let me just show you my. Okay, so can you guys see that? So these are my solutions that I'll post on Thursday morning. But part C. Okay, so what's the total gain in both cigars and bourbon that would result from such specialization? And so here, all you're doing is you need to figure out the total for each product in the whole. Add all the products for both countries before, and then add all the products in both countries after. And so after they specialize, there's going to be some gain in total goods. Okay, so this is the homework, or the homework from last week, where you had Kentucky started at B, and Cuba started at U. So Kentucky started with 40 and 20, and Cuba started at 80 and 30. Okay, so the way I did this chart is this is what they started with, right? They 20 bourbons and 40 cigars, and 40 and 40. Okay, so these initial production points are given. They just said Kentucky starts here and Cuba starts here. So this is what they started with at point E and U or whatever it was. So Kentucky starts with, it tells you 20 bourbon and 40 cigars, and Cuba starts with 30 bourbon and 80 cigars. All right, and then if you figure out which country should specialize in what, you should probably, even without doing the analysis, you probably know that Cuba's going to specialize in Cuban cigars and Kentucky is going to specialize in bourbon because those are the unique exports to those, or both of those consumption goods are unique to those areas. Okay, so once you figure out that Kentucky specializes in bourbon and Cuba specializes in cigars, then the specialization part, the output after the specialization, is just what they produce when they specialize. So specializing means that they only produce the one good they have a comparative advantage in.
I'm sorry. So I was looking at that. It said for, I think it was 200 minus 120. I'm just getting confused where you're getting the numbers from.
Okay, so yeah, let me get to that. But okay, I know exactly what you're asking. So let me tell you where. So you get the part where they start with, right? So you know that Cuba starts here, and Kentucky starts here, right?
Yes.
Kentucky starts here, Cuba starts here. All right.
I guess.
And then when they specialize, Kentucky is going to specialize and produce only bourbon, so that means they have now, with specialization, 100 bourbon and 0 cigars. And Cuba is going to specialize in only cigars, so that means that the best they can do with doing that is 200 cigars and no bourbon. Right? So we got the points they started with and the points when they specialize. Now, just doing that, you're going to see that there's a gain in total product from adding both the products together. So look down here. Okay, and so I think your question is how I get these numbers.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so the total gain in cigars is 200, so this is the specialization. Cuba's making all the cigars. The 120 is just the combination of the cigars between both countries beforehand. So 40 plus 80 is 120. And so over here, before they specialized, Kentucky was producing 40, and Cuba was producing 80. And now the sum of those together is 120. Okay, so that means the net gain is 80. And do the same for the bourbon. When we specialize, it's 100, but before they were both producing different amounts. So that was 30 plus 20. So 30 plus 20 is 50. And then net gain in bourbon is 50. So just these numbers you're subtracting are just the total of the product between the two countries because they're both producing some before the specialization happens.
I got it. Thank you.
Okay? All right. Yeah. Okay. So I know that was a specific question that Aaron had asked about. Do you have other specific questions I can answer for Chapter 16? We're going to do a whole other example in the practice midterm, but I want to make sure you guys are good on Chapter 16. So any more, I got the solutions up right now, so any more questions on where you guys got stuck for Chapter 16? Section E. All right. So section E is that's a big part because that's where you figure everything out. And so, all right. So let's suppose that the actual terms of trade are 1 million cigars for $1 million of bourbon. So let's assume that that's a good trade for both countries, or both, I guess. Kentucky's not a country, but it's a region or a state. So it's a state and a country. All right. So if they're both trading 1 for 1, the trade is 1 million for 1 million. So let's figure out what they both mean, and then so the rate of trade or the exchange rate is 1-to-1. And that's going to help both countries if you figure that out in part E. Okay, and then the question says that typically it's 1-to-1, but 50 is exchanged for 50. So whoever has the cigars is going to give away 50 million, and they're going to get back 50 million. So the actual trade is 50 for 50. Okay, and then the question is what are the gains from specialization and trade for both Kentucky and Cuba? Okay, so we've already done this part from the previous question that we just answered. So we're starting at column 3. Okay, so all you're doing here is doing the trade. So whoever has the bourbon is going to trade away the bourbon, and whoever has the cigars is going to trade away the cigars, and that's the exchange. Okay, so Kentucky specializes in bourbon, and they trade away 50 bourbons, and they get 50 cigars. Cuba specializes in cigars. They trade away the cigars and get back the bourbon. So it's just a 50 for 50 trade between the two areas. Okay, and then the output after specialization, column 4, is just basically 2 plus 3. Column 2 plus column 3. So it's what they specialize in, and then you get to factor in the trade. Okay, so 100 minus 50 is 50 for bourbon, and then 0 plus 50 is 50 cigars. And then for Cuba, 0 plus 50 is 50, and 200 minus 50 is 150. So this is just the net for both countries, for both products, after the trade. Okay, and then column 5, the gains from specialization and trade, is what the net in both products for both countries, from what they started with to what they have now. Okay, so right now, after specialization and trade, Kentucky has 50 bourbons. Before everything, in column 1. Okay, yeah, I'll go back to 4 first. Oh, 4, yeah. This 4, okay. Alright, so this is just, so column 4 is the outputs available after the trade, right? So you start with the specialization, and then you put in the trade. Okay, so that 50 is just 100 minus 50, which is 50. So they started with 100 for specializing. They gave away 50, and so the net is 50. Now they got 0 cigars, but they got 50 in the trade. So 0 plus 50 is 50. Okay, Cuba had no bourbon after specialization. They got 50 in the trade, so 0 plus 50 is 50. And then Cuba specialized in 200 cigars. They traded away 50 of those to Kentucky, so 20 minus 50 is 150. Okay, so you see how we got column 4, the outputs available after the trade. This is what they're producing after the trade. Okay, and then pretty much the goal of the whole problem is to determine that both countries are better off. And so when you do this column 5, if you do it like I do, you should get that both countries are better off at something, maybe both things, but there's got to be some gain for both countries, or otherwise they wouldn't trade. Okay, so column 5 tells you what it is. It's 4 minus 1. It's column 4 minus column 1. So it's what they have after specialization and trade. minus what they started with before all this, before they didn't do any trade specialization. Okay, so 50. After the specialization trade, Kentucky has 50. Beforehand, they had 20 bourbon. So the net gain is plus 30 bourbon. Now, after specialization trade, they had 50 cigars. In column 1, before anything happened, they had just 40. So the net gain is a plus 10. Okay, Cuba has now 50 bourbon after specialization and trade. Before this process started, they only had 30, so they gained a net of 20. And after specialization and trade, Cuba has 150 cigars. They started with only 80, and so that's a net gain of 70. Okay, so this column 5 is the difference of the gain for both countries, for both products. And so you're not always going to have a gain for all the products, but both countries should gain at least something for one of the products. In this case, both countries got a plus in everything, and so that's how you get this part, which is just what both countries gain after specialization and trade in both products specifically. Okay, so Daniel, you see that? Okay. All right. Any other questions on the chapter 16 homework? Okay, so you're looking at section E reflects the change in the chart for F. Sure. So, oh yeah, okay. All right. So I think this is what you're asking. And so you're trying to get the new production possibilities curve after the specialization curve for both countries. And so setting up this chart, these numbers right here, right? Okay. All right. So let's, yeah. So the the curves after specialization and trade reflect what they could gain in any level via trade. So start with the specialization goods. So Kentucky's going to specialize in why is for D, why is the limit 1 cigar equals -2 bourbon? All right, so let me try to explain. I actually think this the limit thing is probably the most it's a little confusing. Let me explain. So the limits of the terms of trade, you're just trying to determine what trade is going to benefit both countries. All right, and so start with one of the countries and specialize in something. So we determined that Kentucky is going to specialize in bourbon, and we determined above that their opportunity cost before the trade was 1 bourbon equals every time they produce a bourbon, they lose a half a cigar in the original production curve. And so if every time they give away a bourbon, or every time they Yeah, every time they produce a bourbon, they give away a half a cigar, and they have to get more than that in a trade. Otherwise, they can just do the same in the closed economy. All right, and Cuba's going to specialize in cigars, and their original opportunity cost is one cigar. One cigar equals a fourth of a bourbon, or a fourth, yes. All right, and so if they're going to specialize in cigars and trade for bourbon, then they got to get more than that deal in the trade. Otherwise, they would just stick with their closed economy. Okay, and then the limits are just putting it in terms of one of the goods, so you know where the trade has to go in, right? Okay, so if you start with this and put it in terms of cigars, multiply both sides by 2, so that means that one cigar for Cuba equals minus 2 bourbon. Right? Just rearranging this. Okay, this is already in terms of cigars, so that's right here. Okay, so the limits are just both countries' original opportunity cost reflected in terms of one of the goods. Okay, so this way it's in terms of cigars. You can do it in terms of bourbon as well, but you got to pick one. Okay, and so you see here that to benefit both countries, you have to trade one cigar for something in between those two original opportunity costs. So it's going to be one cigar for something bigger than 1/4, but less than 2. And we did 1 for 1, which fits right in the middle and makes the math nice and easy. Okay? So, yeah? Okay, so back to this chart, which I think we started talking about. So to draw or graph the selection possibilities curve after specialization and trade, to show all the combinations they could get with the trade at 1-to-1. Okay, start with Kentucky. This is our new curve when they can trade. And so just the first thing you should put in here is the original. If they specialize in bourbon, okay, they can't get any more bourbon because they're the only country producing that. So just take the original bourbon numbers and just put them over there in the new curve. Okay, so Kentucky's specializing in bourbon, which means they can't get any more bourbon, but they can gain more in the trade. So just stick with the original numbers for the specialized goods. Okay, and the numbers for cigars reflect all the possible combinations in which they could trade for cigars. And the trade is 1-to-1, right? So if they trade with point A, that means they trade all their bourbon for all cigars. So it's 1-to-1, so that means they trade 100 for 100. Okay, point B prime is if they kept 20 bourbon and traded the other 80. It's a 1-for-1, so now they can get 20 and 80. This point, they kept 40 and they got back 60 at 1-to-1. And at this point, they kept 60 and got back 40. And this point, Kentucky kept 80 and got back 20. So the bourbon part is just what they kept after they produced it. The cigars part is what they got or could have got in a trade. And the traded for good is always going to be higher than the original amount because if it wasn't, then they wouldn't do the trade. Okay, so the tequila part, they're specializing in cigars, so stick with the original numbers for the cigars. And just put those there. Those are the same as what they started with. Okay, so that and that are the same. And then the bourbon numbers reflect the bourbon they could get in a trade depending on how much they kept for themselves. Okay, so if they produce 200 cigars and keep them all, then they get 0 bourbon. If they produce 160 and trade away 40, they get 48 bourbons in return. Okay, if they keep 120 and trade away 80, then they get 80 bourbons in return. And then if they keep 80, they get 120 back. If they keep 40, they get 160 back. And if they trade all of their cigars away at 1-to-1, then they give away the 200 and they get back 200 bourbons. All right. So why do you switch the placement of bourbon and cigars when making a new table? Okay. You mean by that flip piece? The reason I did that is because if you don't have the zero, if you don't have the zero on top, then it makes it weird. The graph doesn't come out right. And so I think I did it. I realized that, and I made the one in the practice midterm and then the one in the midterm. You want to have the grid that's on the y-axis be on the bottom. So if you have, I'm sure you could tweak the graph in the chart to fix it, but I had a tough time getting the graph to show what I wanted unless I had it this way. So it's easier if you have this point A, where the y-axis is the number and the x-axis is 0. So if you try to graph this, it's just a technical question with Excel. Okay, see what happens if I do it the other way. It makes the curve how I can't talk about it like I want to. So that's why. It's just because Excel won't do what I want unless I have it that way. Okay, you're welcome. So, any more questions on the chapter 16 homework? Okay, you're welcome. All right. So everybody can do the chapter 16 homework now. But by Wednesday, the next. Okay. You see, all the homework. Yeah. All right. So like we agreed upon, the the deadline has been extended to Wednesday to do any homework from here, and so any of you've missed or not turned in via the discussion forum, make sure you get those in by Wednesday at midnight because I'm going to post the solutions on Thursday morning. Okay. All right. So now we have the midterm review to go through. Anything else before we do that? All right. So what we're doing now is your midterm is due a week from today, next Monday, and it's got to be. I have to get it by before class because I'm gonna go over the exam, and so make sure the homework. Let me just put that here. Just 1 second. All right. So I haven't posted the midterm yet, but midterm two, just like it says in the syllabus, is going to be due next Monday, April 20th. Okay, so maybe it's going to be Monday, April 20th at 6:50 p.m. So that way we can, actually, yeah, that's right, yeah. Okay, then we can start the new material. Okay, so do next Monday at 6:50, and you can email it to me. I'm not sure, it's easier if you, I can accept other things, but, like a PDF or a Word document is preferred. If you have to send photos or some other document, that's fine. But if you can do a PDF or a Word document, it's a lot easier for me to, because some of the pictures I can't see everything. And so, yeah, you can do that too. So, you can do it on paper and convert it to a PDF. Yeah, you can do all your work by hand and convert it to PDF. That's completely fine. So try to submit it, try to scan it or convert it to PDF, or do it on a Word document. If you have to send me a picture, you can, but it's just harder for me to grade it like that. Okay, and so like some of the homework, I can see everything, but sometimes if it's a picture, it comes up like in a different format. And it's hard to if I zoom in, it's hard to see everything. And so try to send a PDF or a Word document. But if you have any issues, just let me know. Yeah. So yeah, email me the list. Okay. So let's look here. All right. So under the study guides updated 411. All right. And so I made a practice midterm, and we're gonna go through that right now. I have solutions for it that we can go through, and then your midterm that I'm gonna just post at the end of class. I gotta make sure I do that, but that'll be due next week at 6:50. So just yeah. All right. So let's start by opening up these things. So you can pick. There's a practice midterm too. You can open up the practice midterm, the PDF, and the Word file has my solutions, and the Excel file has the Excel work part of the solution. Okay, so the midterm you're going to get, the take-home midterm, is going to be, not just like this, but similar questions. There's going to be three big questions. Okay, so there's going to be one on markets and profit maximization. There's going to be one on the game theory side. Okay, and then your favorite type, there's going to be one on the gains from trade. Okay, so these questions should be very similar to the homework questions. And we're going to go through this whole practice exam now with my solutions. You can use that to help you prepare your answer sheet. And yeah. All right. So I think it's easier just to go through the one that has my questions. All right. So under the practice midterm two, you can open up. I have a Word document that has my solutions that we can go through. All right. So let's go through the practice exam. So everybody sees where we are, right? What I'm looking at. All right. This area here. All right. So here's the practice midterm with my solutions, and you'll have this to use as a study guide when you're doing your midterm. So, all right, part one, which is so everything's 33. There's 3 questions. They're each a third of the exam. Okay, so the following equation describes a firm's total cost and marginal cost. So what I wanted you guys to do for this one is there's a couple examples, and I want you guys to do the profit maximization stuff, and then just state what type of market it is based on the information you're given. Okay, so here's the total cost, 100 plus Q squared, and the marginal cost is 2Q. Alright, and so you should recognize this type of problem. If a firm is a price taker, and other firms in the industry sell output at a price of 100, what price should the manager of this firm put on this product? Okay, so you see right there, the firm's a price taker, okay, and you're not given a demand or a marginal revenue function, and the firm's a price taker is the key word. Okay, if the firm is a price taker and the market price is set at 100, that's the price they're charging, and their price is 100. So if they're in a price taking market and the price is set at 100, they're charging 100. Alright, so that's no tricks on that there, that's pretty easy. Okay, and then part B is what level of output should be produced to maximize profit. Okay, you always want to set the condition where MR equals MC. That's the best they can do, no matter what. Okay, and we know that this firm is a price taker. And if this firm is a price taker, that means that their price does not depend on demand. It's set in the long run. Okay, so there's no demand function. And a price taking firm just sets price equal to marginal cost because price is the same as marginal revenue. Okay, so in the price taking situation, price equals marginal cost, which means 100 equals 2Q. Price of 100 equals the marginal cost of 2Q. Alright, just divide by 2 and we get an optimal quantity, Q star of 50. Okay, then how much profit will we earn? Your profit is always total revenue minus total cost. Right? Total revenue is the price of the good times how much is sold. And total cost is given by the cost function of 10 plus Q squared. Alright, and put in our price of 100, our quantity of 50, minus the fixed cost of 100, minus the variable cost of 50 squared. And that simplifies to 5,000 minus 100. And 50 squared is 20,500. And if you put this in your calculator, you should get, I believe, profit equals 2,400. Okay, and the final part I put in so you guys can recognize the type of market. And so, what type of market is this firm operating in? You know that is pure competition because this firm is a price taker, and we set price equal to marginal cost, and price doesn't depend on demand. Alright, questions on that part? Okay, so there's the second part of question number 1 is about a different type of market, and so for there's going to be, so we know that there's 4 types of markets that you guys learned about, and so you guys are going to do the profit max for each one of these, and then just identify which type of market it is. Okay, and so here, the following equation describes a firm's demand, marginal revenue, total cost, and marginal cost. All right, and if you're given a demand function and a marginal revenue function, that means it cannot be pure competition because the price depends on output. Okay, so your demand is 100 minus 4q. Your total cost is 100 plus q squared. The marginal revenue is 100 minus 8q, and marginal cost is 2q. Okay, what level of output should be produced to maximize profit? You know that that's when MR equals MC. That's always our profit maximizing condition no matter what. Alright, so you have an MR function, we have an MC function. Set those equal, so we get 100 minus 8q equals 2q. Okay, just rearrange, we get, add 8q to both sides, we get 10q equals 100, and divide by 10, we get q star. The level of output the firm should use is 10. Okay, F, what is the market price? And so here we know if we have a demand function, we're going to find our best output, Q star, and then put that output into the demand function to determine the best price. Okay, so demand is given by P equals 100 minus 4Q. Put our Q star out, we get 100 minus 4 times 10, and that comes out to 100 minus 40. And our best price P star, based on that demand function, is 60. Okay, then how much profit will be earned? This is always the same equation. It's total revenue minus total cost. And total revenue is always the price of the good times the quantity minus the cost function of 100 plus Q squared. Okay, so price is 60, quantity is 10, minus 100, and then minus the variable cost of 10 squared. That comes out to profit equals 600, minus 100, minus 100, and that gives us a profit of 400. All right, and the one thing I added to all of these, after these questions, is just to identify, I'm going to give you just some piece of information, and you have to know what type of market it is. All right, so the firm is a public utility company, or sorry, public electricity company. What type of market is this firm operating in? You know that all public utilities operate under a monopoly structure. Okay, so it should be fairly obvious, given a few points of information, what type of market you're operating under, but just so you know what market you're dealing with. Okay, so that is number one. You're going to do two different profit max questions and just identify each type of market. It might be the same, it might be different. So there's four types of markets it can be. If there's a price taker, it has to be pure competition. If you're given a demand function and a marginal revenue function, it's probably one of the other three. But you do the same thing, and you should have enough information to do the profit max. Okay, so questions on this problem? Okay, well, I'm feeling that let me know if you have any questions. I can always go back. Alright, so number 2 is on the game theory stuff. And there'll be a couple questions here. So there'll be one where I set up the problem to give you guys the, what's it called? The payoff matrix. And then there'll be another part where you have to draw the payoff matrix. Okay, so refer to the following payoff matrix for player A and player B. Player A has 2 strategies, up, down, where player B has 2 strategies, left and right. Player A's payouts are listed first, and player B's payouts are listed second. Alright, so these are player A's strategies, up and down. These are player B's, left and right. And these are the payouts, with the first number going to A, and the second number going to B. Alright, and part A is assuming no collision between player A and player B was the most likely outcome, strategies, and payouts. So here you just want to solve if they can't reach an agreement, what's both players' best strategy based on what the other player can do. Alright, so let's look at in terms of player A. If player B goes left, player A can go up and get 10, or go down and get minus 10. Obviously, it's better to go up and get 10. If player B goes right, player A can go up and get 15. Or down and get 10. Again, both times, no matter what, player 1 is going to want to go up. Alright, let's look at player B responding. If player A goes up, player B can go left and get 20. Or right and get 8. And so player 1 is going to want to go left and get 20. And if player A goes down, player B can go left and get 7. Or player B can go right and get 10. And so player B, his or her best strategy depends on what player A does, whereas player A is always going to go up. Alright, so player A is always going to go up. Then player B's response to player A going up is going left and getting 20. Alright, and so all you have to do here is describe the outcome where you list the 2 strategies. Up, player A goes up, player B goes left, player A gets 10, player B gets 20. Okay, and then part B is what is the likely outcome if player A and player B can reach a conclusive agreement. Alright, and you'll see that if you look at the current outcome, 10 and 20, there's better spots for player A, but player B is getting a payout of 20. And if you look at all the other options for player B, 7, 10, and 8, none of those are better than the current situation that he or she is going to get 20. So there's no reason for player B to make any agreement, because without an agreement, player B is doing the best it possibly can. Okay, so in this case, player A and player B would not reach a collusive agreement because player B is already being the highest possible payout of 20. So part B is going to be contingent on them reaching an agreement. If they can't reach an agreement, just say, like I said here, that they can't reach an agreement because player blank or firm blank doesn't want to make an agreement. Okay, and then part C, there might be a temptation to cheat on the collusive agreement. What's the likely outcome if player A cheats? And again, these parts are contingent on there being an agreement. There is no agreement here. And so without a collusive agreement, player A cannot cheat. Alright, so this was like one of the examples we did where so you want to start, there's always going to be a outcome without an agreement, so just no collusion. Sometimes they can collude and reach an agreement where they both get better off, and then sometimes the player can cheat. But if they can't reach an agreement, then for part B, just say they can't reach an agreement, and for part C, there's no cheating because there is no agreement. Okay, so questions on this? Okay, then there's another one for question 2. So let's do this one. I'm gonna go with my coffee and I'll be right back. So give me like 1 minute. Alright, so 1 minute break. Okay, everybody still there? Okay, so let's continue. There's a second part, second example for question 2. give an example, we have to draw the game tree, or you can either draw it, or you can do it in Excel like I did. Okay, so this is similar to the one you did in the homework. Let's assume Toyota and Hyundai play the following simultaneous move game. Toyota has two pricing options for its 2019 Prius, and Hyundai has two pricing options for its 2019 Ioniq. Both Toyota and Hyundai can either price their new hybrid vehicles at $20,000, or they can price them at $25,000. So if both price at $20,000, each earns profits of $3 million. If both price at $25,000, each earns profits of $4 million. But if one undercuts the other, if one prices at $20,000 and one prices at $25,000, then the company that prices at $20,000 earns $5 million, and the company that prices at $25,000 gets $1 million. So what happens here is, in a pricing game, the substitutes, like let's assume that these two vehicles are fairly similar. If one underprices, then they get a bunch of customers to go to their vehicle, because customers would rather have the substitute for a lower price. But if they can both agree to price a little bit higher, then the customers have no choice but to pay the price. Okay, so part D is just to draw the payoff matrix for this game. And all I did was just put the word problem into a payoff matrix. So if they both price at $20,000, they both get $3 million. If they both price at $25,000, they both get $4 million. Or they get more because if they price it higher, that's more revenue per vehicle. But if one undercuts the other, then the company that undercuts, whose company that prices at $20,000, gets $5 million, and the other company loses, gets $1 million. Okay, so whoever prices at $20,000, if the other one prices at $25,000, the company that prices at $20,000 gets $5, and the other company gets $1 because the customer bought the lower price vehicle if they had the option. All right. Part D is just to draw the payoff matrix, and you're welcome to do it by hand. Just draw it on a piece of paper, or you can do it in Excel, like I did. Okay, assuming no collision between Toyota and Hyundai, what is the likely outcome, strategies, and payouts? All right, so again, look at what both companies would do in response to the other company. If Hyundai prices at $20,000, Toyota can price at $20,000, they get $3 million, or price at $25,000, they get $1 million. Now they'd rather get the $3 million, so they're going to price at $20,000, so that's why I underline that one. If Hyundai prices at $25,000, Toyota can price at $20,000 and get flat 5, or $25,000 and get 4. They'd rather have the 5, so in either case, without an agreement, Toyota's going to price at $20,000. Okay, if Toyota prices at $20,000, Hyundai can price at $20,000 and get 3, or $25,000 and get 1. They're going to price at $20,000 and get the 3. That's underlined. If Toyota prices at $25,000, Hyundai can price at $20,000 and get 5, or $25,000 and get 4, and they're going to price at $20,000 and get 5. So you can see that both companies, given no agreement, are both going to price at $20,000, giving them this outcome of $20,000, and they both get $3 million. All right, and then part F is what is the likely outcome if Toyota and Hyundai can reach a conclusive agreement. So in this case, you can see that there is an outcome which would benefit both companies, And that's if they make a handshake agreement and get in a room and say, let's both price at 25,000 and we both get an extra 1 million of revenue. Okay, so if they both can price their vehicles at 25,000 and they both get an extra million, and if they can keep that agreement, that means if they both price at 25,000, then they both get 4 million. Okay, so this is very similar to the Nintendo Atari one that you guys did on the homework. It looks like almost all of you got it right, so I think you're understanding this pretty well. In the last part, there might be a temptation to cheat on the collusive agreement. What is the likely outcome if Toyota cheats? Okay, so here is the agreement, 20,000, 25,000, 4 million, 4 million. If Toyota cheats, that means Toyota doesn't price at 25,000, it prices at 25. And we get a 20,000, 25,000 outcome where Toyota broke the agreement and they got the customers by selling their vehicle for cheaper, and all the customers coming to buy the Prius at 20,000 gave them the extra revenue, and the outcome here with Toyota cheating, 20,000, 25,000, where Toyota gets 5 and Hyundai only gets 1 million. Alright, so that's the game theory one. I think it's similar to what we did in the chapter 9.
Can you explain that? Can you explain that one again? If Toyota cheats, like I don't understand how we get to the 5 and 1 million.
Okay, so you get part F.
Yes.
Okay, so if you get part F, then part G is just so this is the agreement up here where they both agree to price at 25,000 and then they both get 4. Now, the definition of cheating is Toyota not pricing at 25,000, but instead pricing at 20,000. There's only 2 options. If this is the agreement, then cheating is breaking the agreement. And breaking the agreement is pricing at 20,000. So if Toyota breaks this agreement and prices at 20,000, that means they bump up here because Hyundai got cheated on. And so here's Toyota cheating. Here's Hyundai keeping the agreement, but somebody gets.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I see it.
You see that?
Sure. Yeah, I got it. All right, thank you.
Okay, so there's going to be, there are 2 of these questions on your midterm. So one where you're given the payoff matrix and you just have to do the analysis. The second part where you have to draw the payoff matrix and do the analysis, and you'll get the same questions for both. What's the outcome if there's no collusion? What's the outcome if they reach an agreement? And then what's the outcome if someone cheats? And remember that if they don't, the questions will be worded the same, but if they can't reach an agreement, just say that. Right? If it says, what's the outcome if they reach an agreement? Look at their thing, and if they can't reach an agreement, just say they won't reach an agreement. And then, if they don't reach an agreement, there's no cheating. Okay, so seems like we're good on this. You have my solutions there for that one. So we still have another question to do, but maybe just, I also put my Excel file for this. Okay, so This is on Blackboard. You're welcome to look at my Excel file if you want to do it. Use it as a template if you're doing yours in Excel. So here's what I did for question 2A on the practice midterm. There's the part for question 2B, and then 3 is the trade, which we haven't got to yet. All right, so ready for the number 3, which is another one of the gains from trade. All right, so here we go. Here's another example of the gains from trade. And yeah, here we go. So the following hypothetical production possibility tables are for Hawaii and Papua New Guinea, which is an island near Australia. So I just abbreviated that as PNG. Okay, so it's to say that the fourth specialization in trade, the optimal product mix for Hawaii is alternative B, and for PNG is alternative U. Okay, so here are the production possibilities for Hawaii. And here are the production possibilities for PNG. And you notice that I flipped it so the 0 is on top, which makes it easier to graph in Excel. And so you don't have to, it's fine if you do it in Excel. Alright, so these are different combinations of marlins. It's a big fish, and coconuts that both countries can produce. So here's the marlins for Hawaii and coconuts for Hawaii. And the marlins and coconuts production possibilities for PNG. Alright, the questions are the same, but part A is draw the production possibilities curve for Hawaii and PNG, including the optimal product mix before specialization trade. Alright, so for Hawaii, I want to look those points, and I highlighted B because that's where they start. And for PNG, all I did was plot those points, and they start at U. Okay, and there's that. Okay, and again, you're welcome to use my Excel file as a template if you want to do this in Excel, or if it's better for you, you can just draw it on a piece of paper. Alright. Are comparative cost conditions such that Hawaii and PNG should specialize? If so, what product should each produce? Alright, what you want to do here is get the opportunity cost of producing each good for each country. And so let's start with marlin. So for Hawaii, look at the chart or the graph, and the trade-off is 1 to 100. Okay, every time they produce one marlin, they lose 100 coconuts. Right? So plus 1 marlin equals minus 100 coconuts. Okay, for PNG, every time they produce 10 marlins, they give up 20 coconuts. So it's plus 10 minus 20. Okay, so 10 marlins equals minus 20 coconuts. And put that in terms of marlins, divide by 10, we get 1 marlin equals minus 2 coconuts. And you can see that it's not even close. PNG gives up way less. So every time they produce a marlin, they only give up 2 coconuts. Where each time Hawaii produces a marlin, they give up 100. So P&G has a comparative advantage and should specialize in producing marlin. Okay, and let's do coconuts. All right, so for Hawaii, opportunity cost producing coconuts. All right, so every time they produce 100 coconuts, they give up 1 marlin. So it's a plus 100 equals minus 1. All right, so 100 coconuts equals minus 1 marlin. And if you put that in terms of coconuts, divide by 100, that means each coconut gives up 1/100th of a marlin. And for P&G, opportunity cost, coconuts, all right, every time they produce 20 coconuts, they give up 10. So plus 20 minus 10. All right, so 20 coconuts equals minus 10 marlin, and divide by 20, you get 1 coconut equals a half a marlin. And it's not even close here either. Hawaii gives up 100th of a marlin for each coconut, and P&G gives up a half a marlin. So Hawaii is a comparative advantage. They give up way less, and they should specialize in producing coconuts. So we get a situation where P&G is going to produce only marlins, Hawaii is going to produce only coconuts, and they're going to make some great trade, and we're going to try to gain some trade. All right. So thus far, are we following on this? I know that the chapter 16 problem seemed like the most difficult up to this point. All right. Well, let's keep going. So part C is what's the total gain in both marlins and coconuts that would result from such specialization. So here you want to take, you can start the chart that I started like this. All right, so we're doing output before specialization, output after specialization, amount traded, amount available after trade, and then gains from specialization trade. Now this part, we only need to do 1 and 2, but we can start that. So this is the first part here. Okay, so item 1 is what they started with, and so that was given. All right, we were told that Hawaii starts at point B, which means 1 marlin, 400 coconuts, and we were told that P&G starts at U, which means they were originally producing 40 coconuts and 30. We'll start with those 2 initial points and go from there. All right, so here's where Hawaii started, 1 and 400. And here's where P&G started, 40 and 30. Okay, so here's where they started, and then we have to do the specialization. So with specialization, that means Y is going to produce only coconuts. So the best they can do is 500 coconuts and 0 marlins. That's point A. And P&G is going to specialize in marlins, which means they're going to produce 50 marlins and no coconuts. Okay, so this is what they started with. This is the specialization. And now let's just calculate the total gain in both bits. Okay, so the total gain in marlins is the 50 that P&G is now producing minus the original total of 31. So we have a 1 here and we have a 30 here. So combined before specialization, they were producing 31 total. And the difference, the gain, is 50 minus 31, which is 19. The total gain in coconuts is the 500 that now only Hawaii is producing. And before that, combined, they were producing 400 plus 40. So combined, they were producing 440. The total gain with just specialization is 500 minus 440, which is 60. All right? All right, well, I'll keep going, but stop me if you have any questions. What are the limits of the terms of trade? So here we have to state what each country is specializing in, and then what they originally had for opportunity cost, and then that's what they have to beat in the trade. All right, so Papua New Guinea is specialized in marlins, you know that. Originally, their opportunity cost was 1 marlin equals minus 2 coconuts. Right, that was the original trade-off. Now that means the trade-off from trade has to be better. So we got to get at least 2 marlins or something that exceeds 2 marlins. So that they have to beat that original opportunity cost in their trade. Hawaii is going to specialize in coconuts. Okay, the original opportunity cost was 1 coconut. They give up 1/100th of a marlin. So they have to get higher than that trade-off in a trade. So that means they got to get something bigger than 100th of a marlin. And if you put these both in terms of marlins, okay, this is already in terms of marlins. So 1 marlin equals minus 2 coconuts. And in Hawaii, flip this around in terms of marlins. So multiply by 100, and that means 1 marlin equals 1/100, or sorry, 1 marlin equals 100 coconuts. And so we have a big gap here where the trade has to be somewhere in between that. So as long as they trade 1 marlin for something bigger than 2 coconuts and less than 100, then they both are going to gain in the trade. All right. Let's suppose that the actual terms of trade are 1 marlin for 50 coconuts. And so you can see that falls within the limits. So it's got to be 1 marlin for bigger than 2 coconuts, but less than 100. And so 50 falls in the middle there. And that 2 marlins are exchanged for 100 coconuts. So that's the same 1 to 50 ratio, but the actual trade is 2 marlins for 100 coconuts. Given out with the gains from specialization and trade for both Hawaii and PNG. Alright, so we've already got up to column 2. Column 3 is going to be the trade, the plus and minus. Alright, you're told the trade is 2 marlins for 50 coconuts. So that means Hawaii is specialized in coconuts. They're going to trade away the 100 coconuts, so minus 100 coconuts, and get back 2 marlins. So minus 100 coconuts plus 2 marlins. And then those coconuts have to go to PNG, so they get the 100 coconuts, but they trade away the marlins because that's their specialized good. So Hawaii plus 2 marlins minus 100 coconuts. PNG minus 2 marlins plus 100 coconuts. So this is just the exchange. And the outputs available after trade are start with the specialization, and then just add or subtract the trade. Alright, so 0 plus 2 is 2 marlins. 50 minus 100 is 40 coconuts. So after the trade, Hawaii has 2 marlins and 400 coconuts. 50 minus 2 for PNG is 48 marlins, and 0 plus 100 is 100 coconuts. So after the trade, PNG has 48 marlins and 100 coconuts. And this question is about the total gain in both goods for both countries. Okay, so this is column 4 minus column 1. So what they have now minus what they started with will give us some gains from trade. Okay, so after specialization in trade, Hawaii has 2 marlins. They start with 1, so they gained a marlin. And before the trade, before everything happened, they had 400 coconuts. They still have 400 coconuts, so they just gained 1 marlin. So the total gain for Hawaii was 1 marlin. Now let's see for PNG. After the trade, they had 48 marlins. They started with 30, so that's a plus 18 that they gained from specialization in trade. So they gained 48 minus 30, which is 18 marlins. And for coconuts, they have 100 now after the trade. They started with 40, so that's a plus 60. 100 minus 40 is 60. Okay, so this last column, column 5, is what both countries gained, if any, after the trade for both goods. Alright, so I recommend doing the chart just like this every time. You don't have to do it in Excel. So either just make these columns where you have the country, and part 1 is the outputs before specialization, part 2 is the outputs after specialization, part 3 is the trade, part 4 is the net after the trade, and then part 5 is the total gain for each country for both the goods. There's always going to be, there has to be a gain for both countries, otherwise they wouldn't trade, but sometimes they only gain something and not the other. But there's got to be, neither country is going to lose something. Alright, and then the last part is to figure out a new production possibilities curve with the trade and graph that. Okay, so here we go. So again, with the new curve, start with the good they specialize in and just put that there. So Hawaii is going to specialize in coconuts, right? They have a comparative advantage in coconuts. So put the original coconut amounts in the new chart. That's the same. So that goes there. Alright, that's the same thing. And we know that PNG is going to specialize and produce only marlin. They can't get any more marlin because they're producing them all. So this goes right there. And now we're going to figure out what they can gain from trading with the other countries. Okay, so the trade is 1 to 50. 1 marlin equals, marlins are way more valuable than coconuts in this exchange. Okay, so if Hawaii keeps all of their 500 coconuts, they get no marlin. Or they can trade 50 coconuts for 1 marlin, right? So if they trade 100 coconuts, if they keep 400 and trade 100, they get back 2. Okay, those those 100 coconuts would give them 2 marlins in the trade. If they keep 300 and trade away the other 200, they get back 4 marlins. If they keep 200 and trade the other 300, they get back 6 marlins from PNG. If they keep 100 and trade the other 400, they get back 8. Or the exchange rate is 50 to 1, so they can trade all the 500 coconuts for a max of 10 marlins and have no coconuts left. Okay, and we know that PNG starts with these marlins because they're specializing in that. So these are the same amounts they started with. And then the big numbers in coconuts are what they can get at that 50 to 1 trade. So the exchange rate is 1 marlin equals 50 coconuts. So how did you get 50 to 1? So that was just okay. So that's the limit. These are the limits here. So the limit means that the trade has to be in between those boundaries. So the limits are 1 equals minus 2 and 1 equals 100. So that means they have to trade for something. And 1 marlin equals bigger than 2 coconuts, but 1 marlin equals less than 100. So that's the only way they can both gain. But the 1 to 50 was just specified in part E. So it says the actual terms would say the 1 to 50, but you should note that the actual trade is always should be within your limits that you figured out. Yeah, so right. Yes, so the actual trade will always be stated in the question. Okay, so this is the trade they agree upon, 1 equals 50, and so that's the ratio, right? They can trade anything within that ratio, and that means that 2 marlins equals 100 coconuts, right? So that's the exchange. Okay, so back to here. So we're just figuring out how many coconuts they can possibly gain at a 50 to 1 trade. So they can trade all of these marlins. Each one gives them 50 coconuts back from Hawaii. So if they keep all the marlins, they get nothing back. If they keep 40 and trade 10, that gives them 10 times 50, which is 500. If they keep 30 and trade 20, that gives them 20 times 50, which is 1,000. If they keep 20 marlins and trade for coconuts, that gives them 30 times 50, which is 1,500 coconuts. If they keep 10 marlins and trade the other 40, they can get back 40 times 20, which is 2,000. Or the other scenario is they can trade all the marlins. 50 times 50 is 2,500. Okay, so these are all the possible combinations that each country could get in a trade at that 2 to 1 ratio. Or sorry, 50 to 1. Okay, and those are just plotted down there, and you can see based compared to the original amounts that they both gain in the trade. So look at Hawaii had a limit of 505 here, and with the trade possibilities, they have 510. So they can double their possible marlins, where PNG had 150, and down after the trade and specialization, they have 50. They can get up to 2,500 at that 50 to 1 trade. All right, so on the same graph in part A, add the new production possibility curve for Hawaii and PNG with the specialization and trade, including the optimal product mix from part E. So you're welcome to put it on the same graph if you want to save room and show the shift out, or you can make the new graphs like I did. And you should confirm that the outputs after specialization and trade do actually fall in the curve. Okay, so after specialization and trade, Hawaii is producing 2 marlins and 400 coconuts. Alright, there's that point right there, so you know that's exactly on the curve. You're good on there. Whereas PNG is producing 48 marlins and 100 coconuts. That's somewhere about right there. You can see that that's gonna be a point on your curve. So just confirm that the production points after specialization and trade look like they're going to be on the new curve view graph. Okay. Questions on that, the gains from trade one again, or any of these other questions? Okay. Anything else before I post the? Can you please make sure? Yes. Yeah. So all the recordings are going to be on the Blackboard page. Okay, starting last week, and so you should be able just to open it up like a video, and I'll post today's as soon as we're done tonight. Okay, so let me post the actual midterm, unless there's any more questions, and then just you can look at it for a minute. Let me know if you have any issues with it or questions, and that's due in a week. But it's going to be very similar to the one we just did together just now. All right, so just give me a second. Let me post the actual midterm. Okay, so if you, I just made a little section on Blackboard. If we go to the midterm to spring 2020. Alright, so there's your midterm, and you'll see that it's very similar to what we just did together in class for the practice midterm. And so, I think you guys can all access that, right? So I just posted it, but it should be there. And so that's due in a week by next Monday. Alright, so any homeworks that have not been submitted, chapters 6 through 16, like we said, need to be submitted by this Wednesday at midnight. And then your midterm is due next Monday, April 20th, so a week from tonight. And we do the midterm ahead of time and get feedback. You can do it ahead of time, but I mean, you can ask me questions, but like if you have any issues saying like I'm not sure what to do here or what do you mean here, you can ask me that. But if you submit it, then I have to grade it. So you can do it ahead of time, but I don't know what you mean by feedback. Alright, so you can submit your midterm two-end sheet anytime before next Monday, via email. Alright, so I'm not leaving it up, but let me just summarize. So again, all homeworks, I'll write this here. Alright, so homework's due this Wednesday at midnight in the discussion forum. There's already a space. And then don't post your midterm answers to the discussion forum. Email those to me. And midterm two answers you due next Monday at 6:50 p.m. via email. So just email me your answer sheet once you're done.
Excuse me, first, what did you say about the discussion?
What do you mean?
You just said something about the discussion forums.
So that's where the homework goes. So just the discussion forum. So there's a spot for the homework where you guys have been turning them in since the spring break. So the homework is supposed to go to the discussion forum.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so everybody can access the midterm, right? And everybody knows the homework is due Wednesday. The midterm is due next Monday. And any questions about those two things or anything else? Okay, so just you can post you can take it down or you can post a new one. Yeah, I'd recommend just taking your post away so I know which one to grade or look at. But yeah, just delete the original one and you have till Wednesday to post a new one. Yeah. Okay, so all right, so that's what I have for today. I just wanted to make sure everyone's good on chapter 16 and the midterm. So if you don't have any more questions on any of the homeworks or the midterm, you're free to go and log off. And I will see you guys next Monday at the same time when the midterm is due. And we'll start some new material for macroeconomics on Monday. But if you have any questions, go ahead and let me know. If not, you're free to go. And stay safe, and we'll see you guys in a week. And thanks for joining.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, I got everybody was here. At some point I saw that there were 23 people, and so everybody's already good for attendance for tonight. Okay, so let me see. So the homework is just, there were a lot of students that had questions or were not able to finish the chapter 16 homework, and so I gave you guys an extension until Wednesday if you need it. And so if you've done all the homework, then just leave them. If you needed more time to do the homework, then you have till Wednesday. Okay, so I posted something to the chapter 16 discussion forum, and I'm just going to delete it. So you can see mine there. the homework test post. I just posted that. And all you're going to do if you want to delete it is just click on it. And hit the delete button. Okay, do you want me to like delete yours right now? Alright, there you go. So you're supposed to do one by Wednesday. Okay, it might only be that I can do it because I have the auditing, but yeah, it's deleted. Okay, you too.